Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Stella Diaz Dreams Big by Angela Dominguez, narrated by Kyla García. Chapter 1. "Time for an adventure!" I exclaim. "Stella? Where are you?" says Nick. I can hear his footsteps coming down the hall. "I'm in here!" I shout. "How can you even see in there?" Nick replies, calling to me through the door. "It's so dark." I step out of the laundry closet wearing a headlamp. Nick quickly looks away from the blinding light. He groans. "Whoa! What are you doing?" "I'm getting ready to go camping in the backyard with Jenny." I flex my muscles. "It's going to be a real rough and tough adventure." Nick clicks off my headlamp with his thumb and looks me in the eyes. "Stella, I'll believe it when I see it." "Oh, you'll see," I reply, digging in my fanny pack. Nick walks away. "Okay. Well, I'm going to be busy with my homework, so you two better stay out of trouble." Nick has spent most of his Saturday at the kitchen table surrounded by a pile of books. Since Nick started 9th grade, his homework has more than doubled. Almost all his classes have a fat textbook, too. When I tried his backpack on once, I nearly fell backward from the weight of all the books. I want to be just like Nick when I'm in high school, but it's hard to imagine walking around with that backpack. Maybe when I'm his age, I can use 2 backpacks. That might help. "You're just jealous you're not invited camping this time," I reply, putting my hands on my hips. When we were younger, Nick and I would occasionally camp out in the backyard. Because he's my big brother, he would take care of choosing the perfect spot for our tent and pitching it while I would draw in my sketchbook. Nick snorts. "Sure, that's it, sis." Then he gets back to doing his homework. According to my school's calendar, summer is over, but technically there are a few days left till it's autumn. Before we have to start wearing sweaters and parkas, my best friend Jenny and I want to make the most of the nice weather, which is why I suggested having a Saturday backyard sleepover. It's going to be so much fun. Sleepovers are already the best, but they're even better when they're outside. When Jenny arrives, she hands me a glass casserole dish filled with spring rolls her mom made and says, "I have new dance moves to show you." "Can't wait," I reply, hugging the casserole. I can't wait for the spring rolls either. With our arms full of camping equipment, we open the patio doors to go outside. We're hit with a refreshing breeze. It still feels like summer, but there is already an orange leaf or two on our oak tree hinting that fall is coming soon. The backyard is mostly quiet except for the rumble of the Metra, our local train line in the distance. I inhale deeply. It's a perfect night for camping. Jenny nods and looks at me. "Stella, have you ever been camping? My mom never wants to go. She thinks there will be too many bugs." I turn roja like my red sleeping bag. I may look like an expert, but I've never been camping outside of my backyard in Chicago. Well, never successfully. Our family tried to go once in Wisconsin. Mom had seen pictures of a coworker's trip and thought it looked fun. We bought a ton of camping gear for this one trip, packed up our car, and drove out to the campsite. Then we unloaded everything, set up our tent, and realized how cold it was. We didn't last a whole night, even with a campfire nearby. We were asleep back in our beds before midnight. Ever since then, the camping gear mostly stays in our laundry closet, except for adventures like tonight. "No, but we're outdoors." I shrug my shoulders and add, "It's probably about the same." Jenny looks at me wistfully. "I wish we were camping for real. Somewhere amazing, like Montana." I nod. "But this is still fun, and I'm sure it's only a little bit different." Jenny smiles and shakes her head as we get to work. She takes the poles out of the tent bag, while I lay the tent flat on the ground. Then we snap each pole into place, making sure to get them all through the loops. Like magic, our tent pops up. "Can I show you some of my new choreography now?" Jenny asks eagerly. Recently, Jenny joined a new dance class. It meets once a week, but she proudly tells me that it's much harder than her dance summer camp. She's even dancing with the older girls, too. She stands on our small backyard deck, her makeshift stage, and I sit down on the grass below. Just as Jenny begins to twirl on her tippy toes, I spy a shadowy figure peeking out from the patio door. Nick yells, "Yeah, this is real rugged camping." I stick my tongue out at him. He snickers. "I'll leave you two alone with the elements. Give me a shout when you get hungry." Then he closes the door. Jenny ignores him and continues with her performance. For the grand finale, she even leaps. I clap when she bows at the end. "Brava!" I cheer. Next, we put the finishing touches on our campsite. Once we make our tent cozy with lanterns, pillows, and our spring roll rations, we jump inside and zip the door shut. "What now? Should we draw?" I ask, scratching my head. I'm not quite sure what people do when they go camping. I start searching my fanny pack for pencils. Jenny replies, "Well, we could tell ghost stories." I grab a pillow. "I don't know, Jenny. I don't like scary stories." My shoulders tense up just thinking about it. "Let's try one. Scary stories are part of the sleepover experience," she says knowingly. As Jenny begins to tell a story about a dark and stormy night, the wind suddenly picks up. The leaves start to rustle and the branches creak on the oak tree. The noises from the Metra now sound like ghostly whistles. I quickly realize that we're absolutely alone in the backyard, with only a nylon tent to protect us. Jenny pauses and turns toward me. She looks nervous. "Did you hear that?" "What? Did you hear something?" I squeeze my pillow even tighter. I didn't hear anything, but maybe Jenny has super hearing. We look at each other. Suddenly, we hear what sounds like a branch cracking above our heads. Without saying a word, we jump out of the tent and run back inside the house. As we close the patio door behind us, I turn to Jenny. "Good thing we're not in Montana." She nods and locks the door. Chapter 2. While we are pretty sure there is nothing in the backyard, Jenny and I end up sleeping in the living room, just in case. Nick helps me put the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau on the television, so that Jenny and I can fall asleep to Jacques' gentle French accent. Watching Jacques and his group exploring the oceans is captivating. The whooshing sound of the divers breathing heavily in their scuba masks also makes my eyes heavy. "I almost forgot," Jenny says, sitting up in her sleeping bag. "What?" I ask, yawning. All the commotion must have made me sleepy. "You're going to love this." I roll over. "Tell me in the morning." "My mom registered me for swimming classes at the YMCA." I pop up. "You're right. I want to join." On the first day of 4th grade, I made a list of dreams for the school year. Big dreams like win an award, work on a big project, and make new types of art, just to name a few. I even wrote Nobel Prize, but I had to cross it out. Turns out they don't have one just for kids. While swim lessons might not be on my official list, swimming does sound fun. I guess I'll just have to add it to the list. "Yes! I bet my mom could drive you too. It's only on Wednesdays, and the session starts in 2 weeks, Jenny says. I nod. I'll ask my mom when she gets home. I look at the clock on the TV stand. It's almost 10 p.m., and Mom's still not home yet. She is at her first ever girls' night with her coworkers at the radio station. Now that Nick is 15 and can officially babysit me alone, Mom is beginning to hang out with work friends a bit more. I'm happy for her, but it's awfully late, and I want to ask her about the swim lessons right now. Plus, I can't really fall asleep until Mom tucks me in and says, "Te quiero, mi estrellita." To which I always reply, "I love you too, Mom." I try to stay awake so I can see her when she gets home, but Jacques Cousteau's voice is too soothing. I fall fast asleep and dream of swimming in the deep blue sea. In the morning, I wake up to the smell of batter and the sound of Mom humming. Jenny and I head to the kitchen to investigate. "Buenos dias! How did the sleepover go, niñas?" Mom says, flipping a pancake over. "I noticed that you two decided not to sleep outside." We start giggling just thinking about our adventure last night. The only way I can sum it up is to say, Camping was an experience. Muy interesante, she laughs. You'll have to tell me more about it later. Mom hands us plates, and we serve ourselves breakfast. Jenny devours her pancakes with lakes of maple syrup on top. I never get to eat this at home, Jenny says in between bites. Our pancakes are way different. She pours more maple syrup onto her plate. Jenny's mom makes pancakes, but they are Vietnamese style. Their pancakes are made out of rice flour and filled with meat or veggies. I've had them at her house, and they're yummy, but they are definitely not syrupy sweet like this. When Jenny's mom arrives to pick her up, Jenny whispers to me at the front door, "Don't forget to ask your mom about swim lessons." "I'm on it," I reply, giving her a high five. I help Mom clean up in the kitchen. She leaves out one plate of pancakes, ready for when Nick finally wakes up. She even put chocolate chips in his batch because those are his favorites. "How was girls' night?" I ask. Then I lean in closer and make my voice stern. "And when exactly did you get home, young lady?" "Perdóname, jefa," she teases, calling me her boss. 10:42 in the evening. I gave you a kiss on the cheek, but you were wiped out." "Oh," I reply. That's not so late. Camping must have really made me tired. She continues, "And girls' night was so much fun. I haven't been salsa dancing like that in a long time." She busts out into a salsa move in the middle of the kitchen. It's like her feet and hips are twisting with joy. I frown. Mom and I salsa together all the time. Every Friday, we have what she likes to call our weekly appointment. That's our Friday night tradition, where Nick, Mom, and I play games and have family fun time. And Mom and I always end up salsa dancing all around the living room. Mom sees my face and knows I'm upset. "Mi amor, I misspoke. I know that you and I salsa, but it's different with a live band. El ritmo just takes over." The rhythm must be taking her over now, too, because she cha-chas again. I nod. I sort of understand. I also know that when we're salsa dancing, Mom slows down for me. I remember when Mom and Dad used to salsa together. Her feet would move at triple the speed. I could never understand how she did it. Suddenly, this conversation gives me an idea. "Mom," I say in my sweetest voice, "speaking of physical activities..." "Sí, Estelita." "Jenny signed up to take swimming lessons at the YMCA. "Oh, fun," she says, wiping down the kitchen counter. I lean over to get closer to her. "I was thinking, could I sign up for lessons too? Jenny said her mom could probably drive me there." "I don't see why not. Let me double-check with her mom. But it would be good for you. Nick has his karate after all. It's time you have a sport for yourself, too." I squeal. That was much easier than I thought it would be. I thought I'd have to tell her that swimming was necessary to my development as a future marine biologist, that it will make me strong just like it did for Jacques Cousteau. Before he became a famous oceanographer, Jacques Cousteau was a sickly kid, and he actually built up his strength by swimming. He grew so strong that he served in the Navy and eventually explored all over the world, even Antarctica. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to share that fact, but there are more important things to think about, like which swimsuit to wear for my first class. Chapter 3. An hour later, while I'm watching my favorite morning cartoons and Mom scribbles in her day planner, Nick comes downstairs from his room. He has a blanket wrapped around him and heads toward the pancakes without saying a word to us. "Hola, niño." Mom hands him a plate. Nick smiles sleepily in return. "Okay, ahora que estamos juntos," Mom begins, commenting that we're all together. "What's on the agenda this Sunday?" Nick and I look at each other. We both know what the answer is. "Homework." He adds, "And I've got a shift at the pizzeria this afternoon." Even though I don't have as much homework as Nick, I do have more homework than I had in 3rd grade. Last year, I'd maybe have a big project or two that we had to work on for a few weeks, like the presentation I did on marine biology. I was so nervous, but I ended up getting an A. But this year, we have homework almost every night. even on the weekends. This weekend, I have to complete a worksheet on long division and write a poem about my favorite subject. Other kids might complain about having more homework, but I like it. It makes me feel grown up like Mom and Nick. Mom asks, "Do either of you need my help with homework?" "Maybe," I reply, while Nick shakes his head. Mom says, "Let's go over your homework now, Stella, and see if anything is tricky." I nod excitedly. I love it when Mom has the time to help me. "Then I'll run some errands," she says as she reviews her day planner. "It's going to be a busy week at the radio station. We're getting ready for the big Mexican Independence Day festival and the rest of the fall events, like Dia de los Muertos." Mom looks at her hands. "Hopefully I can get my nails done today, too." Even though Mom is busy, she always tries to have me time at the nail salon. She says that the right nail color brings her good luck. I move from the kitchen counter to get my backpack, when suddenly there is a knock at the front door. "Are you expecting anyone?" Mom asks, looking at us. Nick and I shake our heads. "Maybe Jenny left something behind," she says. Nick says, "Or maybe it's Linda." I clap my hands together. "And Biscuit!" I look forward to any opportunity to see our neighbor Linda and her adorable chihuahua. Mom walks to the door, and I follow her like a puppy. But to our surprise, it's not Linda. It's quite the opposite of Linda. Instead of an older woman, it's a man around Mom's age. He's wearing a Cubs baseball cap, and he looks a little sweaty. "Hello? How can I help you?" Mom asks in her deep, serious voice, the one she uses whenever she is trying to sound fierce. He waves his hand to say hello. "I'm sorry to bother you. I'm your new neighbor. I just moved into the apartment across the street." He points at the brick house with the blue door and petunias in its flower boxes. When I look over, I notice the for rent sign that was on the lawn is now gone. "Oh, hi," Mom replies. Her right eyebrow is still cautiously raised. He continues, "I've got my moving van temporarily double parked. I am just checking with the neighbors that I'm not blocking anyone in." I notice he has an accent like Mom's. I wonder if he speaks Spanish too. "It's no problem," Mom says, smiling. "Thanks for checking." "I really appreciate it." He sighs. "It should be only an hour at most. It's just me and my daughter Izzy. We don't have a ton of stuff." "Daughter?" I say without thinking. He smiles. "Yup. She's a little older than you, I think." "Izzy is a cute name." Mom extends her hand. "I'm Perla, by the way." "Diego," he replies, shaking her hand. "Mucho gusto." I smile at Mom. He does indeed speak Spanish. I wonder if he is from Mexico like us. While I barely remember Mexico because we moved to Chicago when I was a baby, Mom grew up there and has never lost her accent. Though I never noticed Mom's accent until strangers pointed out. She just sounds like Mom to me. "Igualmente, Diego. If you need anything, let us know." "Welcome to the neighborhood," I add. I turn a little roja when I say it. I'm still kind of shy around new people. "Gracias. I better run," says Diego. Walking away, he adds, "Adios." "Hasta pronto," Mom replies with a wave. Mom closes the door and looks at me. "Well, he seems like he'll be a nice addition to the neighborhood," she says. I nod. He may be a stranger, but he does have a daughter. Maybe Izzy and I can be friends. Better yet, maybe she'll want to be a Sea Musketeer too. The Sea Musketeers is a club I started with some of the kids who attended summer camp with me at the Shed Aquarium. And my school friends, Jenny and Stanley, joined too. Our mission? To help protect the oceans. We could always use more members in the crusade. "We should make them some food tonight once we're done with all our chores and errands," Mom says. "It'll be neighborly. Plus, it will be a relaxing activity before the busy week." "You should make a quesadilla, but the one mi abuela makes, not the tortilla one," I suggest, licking my lips as I think about the cheesy sweetbread from El Salvador. It's very different from the Mexican kind, but just as delicioso. I add, and I can be the official taste tester. Deal. But only after you put the camping gear back in the closet, Mom replies, looking outside at the backyard. I turn roja again. I had forgotten the worst part of camping is packing everything up. I nod, and then we shake hands to seal the deal. Chapter 4. The next morning before school, Mom and I quietly drop off the quesadilla on Diego's doorstep. It's still early, so we don't want to knock on the door just in case he is sleeping. We wrapped it safely in a glass food container and included a note welcoming him to the neighborhood signed by the three of us. Nick didn't want to sign the note at first, until I told him Diego was wearing a Cubs baseball cap. As we head back to the car, I turned to see Diego open the front door and grab the treat from his doorstep. He's dressed in his work clothes. Once he reads the note, he waves to us. Muchas gracias. He thanks us. De nada. I shout you're welcome from the car door. On the way to school, Mom blasts salsa music, smiling and even shimmying to the beat. It's only me and her in the car now that Nick is in high school. He gets a ride with his friend Jason since his school starts earlier than mine. Mom plants a giant kiss on my cheek when we arrive at my school, Arlington Heights Elementary. Que tengas un buen día, mi estrella, she says, telling me to have a great day. I wipe the lipstick from my cheek. You have the bestest day, Mama, I reply. As I walk up to the school, I can feel itty-bitty butterflies fluttering in my stomach. I've always liked school, but it can be hard, too. Sometimes I feel like I stick out when all I want to do is hide like a hermit crab. But now that I'm in 4th grade, I don't feel quite as shy as I used to. That might be because I have class with my friends, but I think the real reason is that I have the best teacher this year. Hola, Miss Benedetto, I say when I enter the classroom. I hand her my completed homework. Ms. Benedetto greets everyone with a warm smile, but she makes you feel like she's only smiling for you. Buenos dias, Stella, she replies, looking up from her laptop. Ms. Benedetto likes it when I speak Spanish. She even studied abroad in Spain during college. She says knowing 2 languages makes you smarter. It's a relief to know that if I were to slip up and say a word in Spanish instead of English, she wouldn't be upset with me. For that reason and many more, Ms. Benedetto might be my all-time favorite teacher, or at least tied with Ms. Bell, my 3rd grade teacher. Howdy, says Stanley, pulling out his chair. He sits next to me at our table of 4. According to Stanley, everyone in Texas says howdy instead of hello, and even though he's lived in Chicago for over a year now, he still greets people like a Texan. That's one thing that makes Stanley a fun friend. He is never boring, because he has his own way of doing things. Did you finish your homework? I ask, settling in at my desk. Stanley nods. I wrote my poem on outer space. Stanley is as obsessed with space as I am with the oceans. In fact, today he's wearing a new t-shirt with a picture of the solar system on it. He even went to NASA summer camp, where he became a junior explorer. I wrote mine on the oceans, I reply. I hear a guffaw. Could you be more predictable? Ben Shaw says. Ben is one of our other table mates. Ben was in our class last year and knows about my ocean obsession. Ben has also been the class clown as long as I have known him, but this year he is less funny and just plain mean. Like when Anna tripped over her shoelaces last week, he called her a klutz all day long. Ha ha, good one, Ben, says Jeremy in between chuckles. Jeremy is Ben's friend and sits beside him at our table. He's much quieter than Ben. That is, until Ben makes a joke. Then he falls over laughing and occasionally snorting. Stanley and I roll our eyes. The rest of the class trickles in before the bell rings. Jenny waves at me from the table next to mine. She's seated next to her friend Anna, and Anna's best friend Isabel. Chris Pollard makes up the 4th at their table. Chris used to hang out with Ben last year, but it seems like something's changed between them. Although Jenny and I might not be at the same table, it makes me happy to have Jenny back in my class again. I missed her a lot when we were in different classes last year. Now all I have to do is turn my head and I can wave at my best friend. I also don't have to worry about finding her at lunch, because we just walk to the cafeteria together. That's simply amazing. After the bell rings, Ms. Benedetto walks out in front of the class to go over the agenda. I notice she's wearing her favorite pattern, animal print, on her feet. Her shoes are zebra print ballet flats. Ms. Benedetto loves animals. She's even a vegetarian because she doesn't want to harm a single one. Class, now that we're a bit more adjusted to being back at school and all the permission slips are signed, we're going to start an exciting way to learn science for the rest of the year. We'll be doing weekly labs. I sit up tall and whisper to myself, yes, finally. Labs are definitely on my list of dreams for 4th grade. It fits nicely in the big projects section. Now, if I can only get a ribbon or trophy for the labs, that would check a second item off my list. She continues, the idea is we will work on projects or experiments built by your hands. Sometimes you might even need to problem solve to come up with unique solutions. Stanley and I look at each other. This is just like my summer camp, he whispers as I nod in agreement. We both made our own exciting projects at our camps over the summer. I made an enrichment toy for a dolphin to play with at the Shed Aquarium summer camp, while Stanley made a robot at his NASA camp. Ms. Benedetto explains, for starters, I want you to select a partner at your table. This will be your partner till the end of the first 6 weeks. Without hesitation, Stanley and I decide to work together, while Ben and Jeremy pair up. Our first project is an edible project. We'll be learning about plants and geology through creating a soil model, says Ms. Benedetto. Does this mean we're going to eat real soil? Isabel asks. Anna says, my dog Scout eats soil. I don't think it looks delicious. Ms. Benedetto laughs. You'll just have to wait and see. As Ms. Benedetto demonstrates the different levels of soil on the whiteboard, we take careful notes. Then Ms. Benedetto drops off all the materials at each table, including rubber gloves. Scientists must keep their stations free of contamination, she remarks. As I put on my gloves, I squirm just imagining what gross things I might have to touch. You all may begin, Ms. Benedetto says when she gets back to the front of the classroom. Then she adds, watch out for the red buckets. They have worms in them. I take a deep breath and peek inside the red bucket on the table between me and Stanley. I let out a sigh of relief when I see gummy worms, not real ones. Stanley picks up the bucket. He asks, Stella, would you ever eat a worm? Maybe, I reply, staring at my red and green gummy worm. Then I add, the grasshoppers I had in Mexico were surprisingly delicious. I'm not lying either. The grasshoppers we had were called chapulines. We ate them with tortillas and avocado. I guess I'd give it a shot then, Stanley says, and then sticks a gummy worm into his mouth. He jiggles it with his fingers before he chomps down on it. Then he grins wide. Ew, I say, grimacing. Not a live one, though. No eating your materials until I say so, announces Ms. Benedetto. Sorry, Stanley replies. Then we both burst into a giggle. Ben rolls his eyes at us. You guys are weird. Why do you say that? I demand. I can feel myself turning a little roja with anger, but Stanley shrugs it off. He is like a water skipper bug. He lets rude comments glide beneath him like water. Weird is fun. Stanley crosses his eyes and sticks out his tongue. Then he nudges me. Right, Stella? I nod, feeling much better. I try making the same face, but I can't. I just keep laughing too much at Stanley's silly expression. Ms. Benedetto looks over at us and motions for us to be quiet. I mouth sorry to her and zip my mouth shut. Whatever, Ben mutters with a devious, shark-like smile. The way Ben is acting is making me nervous, but I can't pinpoint why. I even catch him whispering to Jeremy while looking at us. Fortunately, we have our project to worry about. We silently continue working on our individual soil models from the bottom up. We use chocolate morsels for the bedrock, chocolate pudding for...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?